The prospect pool overviews are going to continue on today with the Chicago Blackhawks. And yes, that is right. We are back in the original setup. No longer in my girlfriend's room. It's been a busy couple of days. But let's hop right in here with Anton Frondell to start off the Blackhawks prospect pool. Arguably, I think, is the best prospect in Chicago's pool. He was the third overall pick in this past year's draft. He was born in... As I turn my thing here. Trangson, Sweden. He's 6'1", 205 pounds. You can tell how unprepared I am. This past year with Djurgården's IFJ20, he had 29 games played, had 11 goals, 14 assists for 25 points. Now, what's crazy about Frondell is he missed the whole summer due to injuries back before his draft year started. And obviously missed a little bit of the season, kind of struggled a little bit, but had a very good second half, boosted off of the World Juniors, and that projected him all the way up into third overall by Chicago at that point. I really like Frondell. The overall experience, the skill, the playmaking with the puck is just unmatched compared to some other players in that draft class. Now, I would rather, if Chicago was at that point and he was available, they go with Michael Misa. But unfortunately, you obviously don't have them there at that pick. I do think Frondell is a really good replacement, though. He's going to become a second, maybe even first-line caliber center at points for the Chicago Blackhawks. This is a very good pick by Chicago. I am really looking forward to seeing what Frondell is going to do in the NHL. He's going to take a little bit. I imagine he might go back in Sweden and play for another year, or maybe he jumps right over to the AHL. He did sign an ELC, I believe, with Chicago, so only time will tell. Oliver Moore has been in college for the last 2 seasons, and now we are at the point where we are ready to see him in the NHL with Chicago. He was drafted 19th overall in 2023. He's a center. He's from Mounds View, Minnesota. He's 5'11", 194 pounds. This past year with the University of Minnesota, he had 33 points in 38 games played. And actually, at the end of his campaign with Minnesota, he got the chance to play 9 games with Chicago, where he put up 4 assists. This guy has very good second-line center upside. I don't know if he's going to be a first-line center there with Frondell, obviously, in the system, and then Bedard's a center too. But has really good speed and great energy. That's his best qualities. His speed is the most notable thing. It's NHL level speed. That's how fast this kid really is. We'll see where he places there because, honestly, Chicago down the middle is insanely powerful. You got Bedard there, who's probably going to move to the wing, let's be serious. You have Frondell. You have Moore. Not to mention you have Frank Nazar as well, who can also play center. Just the center depth on this entire team is just absolutely phenomenal. And I think Oliver Moore contributes a big part to that. This is a guy who went 19th overall in a very stacked 2023 draft and still has plenty of upside to move up here moving forward. But I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to do in the NHL this year. I wouldn't be shocked if he maybe starts the year out in Rockford just because of the fact that Chicago has so many prospects and so many guys, young guys that is, coming up and probably playing NHL games this year. But I think Oliver Moore, without a doubt, will be a very dangerous NHLer when he reaches his potential. Vaclav Nestrasil is up next here. He was a draft pick in this past year's draft. He actually just won a championship with the Muskegon Lumberjacks in the USHL. He's from Praha, Czechia. He's 6'6", 190 pounds. This past year, again, with Muskegon, had 42 points in 61 games played. He's one of those USHL guys. He is committed to UMass. He is a hardworking and very competitive right winger. That's what I've seen most notably out of a lot of his numbers. And I think just like overall his size is going to play a massive factor in how he's going to impact the NHL. He's somebody who I'm very excited to see. Probably, again, in UMass, might not make it to the NHL or even the Blackhawks organization until 2026-27, or maybe even later than that, to be honest with you. So we may not see him for a little bit. But Nestrasil, we'll see how he does in college. He's one of those wild cards. But the size really does help. You see a lot of guys with big size like that. They usually make the NHL. So I'm not scared of his overall development. In fact, I'm very excited to see how he is going to develop going over to UMass next year. Now, moving into the D-man, and this is where it's at for Chicago. Artem Levshinov will not be on this list next year. We'll be talking about somebody else, most likely. But he was born in Zlobin, Belarus. He's 6'2", 209 pounds. He was the second overall pick in 2024. And this right-shot defenseman, keep that in mind, put up 52 games played in Rockford, had 22 points. He actually got called up for 18 games by Chicago. He had 6 points. Some people may not consider him a prospect. I still do. You can tell that there's a lot of players who I've been putting on this, like Devin Levi, Levshinov. I put in Sam Colangelo when we did Anaheim, that maybe aren't prospects, but I feel like a lot of them definitely should still be talked about when it comes to prospects. So Levshinov definitely had some really good numbers. Just again, this guy's dynamic. I mean, I'm saying a lot of the things that I've been saying the last 2 seasons. He has real top 2 upside in Chicago. I think this kid has a lot of potential to really do some damage. And I think him alongside Sam Rinzel, who's also a right shot D, is going to be very exciting to see. Just Levshinov, I feel like, is a little bit more defensive in a sense. And I definitely think that he has some exciting tools in his toolbox that are going to do some really big damage in the NHL. I'm very excited in the Watch of Nordic commentary streams to see Levshinov and Rinzel. Obviously, we actually have the first commentary stream is going to be Blackhawks and Panthers. So we're going to be able to see some of these guys there in the first Watch of Nordic stream in about 2 months. So I'm very excited for that. We'll have to see where that goes. But Artem Levshinov has a ton of talent and will be a full-time NHLer next year. The same can be said for Sam Rinzel. He was a 25th overall pick back in 2022. He was born in Chanhassen, Minnesota. He is 6'4", 190 pounds. This past year, in his second year with the University of Minnesota, had 32 points in 40 games played. He played 9 games with Chicago, had 5 assists. So him and Oliver Moore were 2 players coming from Minnesota at the same time, and both put up around the same numbers. I'm excited to see, because these 2 will be on the NHL club next year. I don't expect either of them to start out the year in the AHL. Maybe they do. I said that about Oliver Moore, but again, I think Rinzel has a really good shot at starting off in the NHL. Just this kid overall defensively, he's really proficient at his size. Just the offense that he puts up is just like it's unmatched compared to some of the other players that are in the Blackhawks organization as the defensemen. So I don't know what he's going to be right off the bat, but I definitely think he has top 2 upset as well. Like him and Levshinov could be on the same pairing. The only issue I see with that is that both of them shoot right. That's the other problem that I see. But that's also a good problem, because the biggest problem with teams is not having right shot defensemen. Chicago has 2 in their top 4 that will be impact defensemen for many years to come. So it's very good that the Blackhawks are able to get something done like this and get these 2 players locked up. And as well as that, too, I think Rinzel's just overall a very underrated prospect by a lot of remarks. I think there's people that kind of forget his overall skill that he had in Minnesota. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. Again, both these players are going to do a lot of damage. It's just a matter of how much. But Chicago with Rinzel and Levshinov and Oliver Moore coming up, as well as that too, you could see some other guys make shots in the NHL. It's very exciting to see what they're going to do. Now, for the goaltending prospect, we could talk about Drew Commesso. I actually thought about it, but we're going to talk about Adam Gazin this time. We talked about Commesso last year. Gazin, born in Paprad, Slovakia, 6'3", 187 pounds, drafted 35th overall in 2023, has put up some very numbers in the NCAA with the University of Minnesota Duluth. You can see all of them on screen right here, but this past year had a 7-12-1 record, a 3.33, and a .885. Just a rough year in the NCAA, just has very shaky numbers throughout his entire career. When he's on a good team, though, he can play very well. It's just the fact that I feel like he kind of gets just messed up over being on not very good teams, which just stink, but it does happen, unfortunately. Again, you could see there in his first year in the NAHL with the Steel, he had a .917. So overall, Gazin's numbers are not very intriguing. He does not make the top 10. Actually, Commesso does. But I thought I'd talk about Gazin here just because why not? And I think that we need to bring some highlights of some other prospects in this pool. But Gazin, definitely not a top 10 prospect in the Blackhawks system for me. I just don't like his overall numbers. I do think, though, we'll see how he does. He may play in Rockford next year. It's only a matter of time before we actually find that out. Now we're going to look at some of the other prospects in the pool for Chicago. Saka Boisvert, his first year with University of North Dakota, had 32 points in 37 games played. He is committed to Boston University, so we will not see him in the NHL until at least the end of 2025-26. Nick Lardis had a phenomenal year in Brantford after putting up some okay numbers the last couple of seasons as a third-round pick. Scored 71 goals for 117 points alongside Marek Vanacker, who we'll get into here in just a moment. Actually played one game with Rockford. We could see him a lot more next season in the Blackhawks organization. Mason West, the football kid, had 9 points in 10 games played with the Fargo Force. He is confirmed to not be doing football next year. He will be doing hockey and playing in the college level, so it's going to be very interesting to see where that's going to go. Marek Vanacker, as I mentioned, was partnered alongside Nick Lardis, played phenomenal as well in the OHL. 42 points in 45 games played, 24 goals, but was really helpful with Nick Lardis for sure. And then Nathan Bem was just a third round pick in this past year's draft. Had 66 points in 59 games played for Kamloops. Not too bad there for a third round pick. We shall see how he develops. Which brings me to the last part of this, the prospect rankings. As you can tell, it's pretty self-explanatory. Anton Frundell takes first spot. I just think he's going to be a first-line center in his prime. Sam Rinzel, number 2. I think he's better than Levshunov. Obviously, Levshunov at 3. Oliver Moore there at 4. Nick Lardis at 5. It's hard to tell. We'll see how he's going to be. Just because, sometimes players have explosive years like that in the OHL and then people overreact. I'm trying not to, but I do think he has a lot of upside. Boisvert there at 6. I think we're going to see how he's going to be in Boston University, and if he's good, he'll move up higher. Marek Vanacker at 7. Good numbers with Brantford as well. Nestrasil, honestly, could be higher. Comesso's at 9, and then Del Mastro is at 10. He may not even be a prospect anymore by some accounts. But regardless, this is a very solid prospect pool by Chicago, and I think that they're not going to be good next year either, so it's only going to get better. We're going to see guys like Oliver Moore and Sam Rinzel come off that list, even Levshunov as well. So the pool will keep building, the young players will keep developing, and eventually Chicago will be back to being a contender. Regardless, that is it for the Blackhawks prospect pool overview. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We have the Colorado Avalanche up next tomorrow. That'll be an interesting one. I already have the stuff written up for it. It'll be very weird. But thank you all for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.